Be sure to subscribe for your chance to win a custom leather playmat when we hit 2,500 subscribers. Welcome to Fast Effect. A little late on this one, but we are getting a video done a day here in 2020, no matter what. We are right down to the wire, as we had a big backlog at the beginning of the year, but we are now doing our Wednesday and Friday night Legacy tournaments that are being run on Discord, which means if you play, you could be featured on the channel. Matt here on Aluren put up excellent results with that, but he may be an underdog in this matchup as Jason's on Turbo Depths, which is likely a bit faster and also going to be pretty difficult to control for Aluren. Usually you're going to want Wastelands to interact with this deck. Matt's not going to have access to that. He has Oko, which is not particularly good versus anything in this deck, and he's actually got a Daze to stop this Elvish Reclaimer, though, which would pull the combo together all on its own. Such a dangerous card versus blue decks. If they don't have the counter, they have to find removal, or he literally will just assemble all the lands necessary to create a 20/20. A second Elvish Reclaimer this time gets Force of Willed, pitching Icefang Kodal, a card that actually can buy some time. Like that card is probably better than it looks on paper. As a speed bump for Merit Lage that can potentially allow Oko to become relevant. Oko, not really great versus kind of the best lines that Turbo Depths has to offer, but if you can slow it down enough with a chump blocker and then Oko that Merit Lage, that is a big problem. Post-board, Sylvan Safekeeper makes that type of plan just super unlikely. And Jason's set up to make a Merit Lage pretty soon here, but Aluren's coming down. Into Euro. And Matt may have survived long enough here for his combo to find a path to victory. Euro has drawn a card, no land being played, and Matt is out of gas. Dark Depths now coming down. And Elvish Reclaimer turning sideways. That food potential from Gilded Goose can also push outside of that 20 damage. Euro comes back. So far we've got Euro life gain and Gilded Goose potential life gain. Both of those actually are factors. Now it's not going to make you favored. But it is a factor. Dark Depths, we get a 20/20, and this Elvish Reclaimer still around, which means that Sajiri Step can be brought up to protect this guy from Oko. Gilded Goose just block? I legit didn't know Gilded Goose had flying. I mean, it feels like it should because it's a bird, but it feels like it wouldn't because looks like it's made out of gold. I guess they wouldn't be making birds that don't have flying. Yeah, totally has flying. Makes sense. That checks out. Birds do fly. But Matt is digging now. So Gilded Goose taking one for the team. Matt ponders and whiffs. Really just needs a Recruiter of the Guard, and he should be able to just win with Recruiter from here. So this is a dangerous situation for Jason. Any type of cantrip is very scary. Matt has gained a bunch of life here, so he will be able to absorb a hit. Vampire Hexmage comes down. Another Dark Depths. and swinging out. And we've got a Cauldron Familiar coming down. Preserving a little bit of life. Euro's going to get another card draw. Will this be the one? Matt hanging on as best he can against this 2020 Avatar. I think it's an Avatar. It's a 2020 Indestructible. Everything's turned sideways. And nothing to flash in to block. That is going to do it as Jason takes game number 1. Matt fighting valiantly, but that Merit Lage just taking off way too big of chunks of life there for Euro to outpace. I mean, you can get outside of range of 1 hit, but not too often that you're going to get outside of getting hit twice by a 2020. Turbo Depth's one of those rare combo decks that can literally just win the game without playing any spells. Dredge also in that category. Combo decks that you do not want to play a standstill against for the most part. Generally not going to work out very well. They can certainly make you crack your own standstill if you do find yourself kind of committing a standstill to the board before you know what's actually going on. Never feels good. Especially versus a combo deck that can actually make use of those 3 cards very efficiently. Matt able to keep, it looks like, on 7, and fetch, likely for a Gilded Goose. Pretty common play for Aluren, which you just wouldn't expect. So many good mana dorks to see a new one kind of not being strictly better. We got Once Upon a Time here for Turbo Depths. It's not surprising to see new cards seeing play. It is really cool, though, to see new cards seeing kind of like niche play. So, like, you know, when they print something like Noble Hierarch and it kind of obsoletes Birds of Paradise in a lot of ways, that's not really shocking. They can definitely print better cards, but to print cards that are just different, it's actually pretty cool. And the synergy here with Oko and also the food, being able to bring back Cauldron Familiar, like there's actually a bunch of reasons to run Gilded Goose as the kind of optimal mana dork for this. And we've got an Oko. And Matt has a little bit of D going on here. He's got the bird to block, and he's got the Oko to turn a Merit Lage into a 3/3. Abrupt Decay, though, just takes out Oko, no problem. But another one replaces him. So we got a couple of foods, it looks like. Oh no, he needed to use a food and then make a food. He's still stuck on 2 lands. Urborg, which is, I'm sure I've mentioned many times on the channel. Urborg functioning as mana acceleration in Turbo Depths is it allows you to tap your Dark Depths for mana. That is an interaction you definitely do not want to miss. And it looks like the Elks are gathering. 3 damage comes in against Jason. He's got a Thespian stage, still no Merit Lage. Crop rotation, always a danger here. But at this point, Matt's going to be able to put out a increasing wave of damage. Going to go from 3, 6, 9, 12. I mean, Once Upon a Time cast the honest way, finds a Dark Depths. But it's not actually fantastic right now, given this board state. There's life gain available. There's 3 blockers. Yeah, I was not considering Gilded Goose a blocker when I was contemplating this matchup. But this may be a little bit more even than I initially thought. Vampire Hexmage able to nuke Oko, though. So Matt is going to force a will that, preserving his Oko, as that's the surest answer to make sure the Merit Lage doesn't just kill him. Whole lot of Elks. Yeah, this is a pretty grim situation. A 2020 is being made. And he's just going to go ahead and block. And Jason, at this point, sacrificing a whole bunch of his board presence just to stay online. And another Oko comes down. So Matt happy to trade the Oko on the battlefield for a fresh face with a new activated ability there. Using that loyalty ability to get rid of that 2020 was going to follow, but Jason scooped up quickly. So we didn't even need to see that. Merit Lage leaves with his dignity intact. And we're on to game number 3. This time Jason on the play. Which is not insignificant. I mean, Turbo Depth's fastest hands being on the play are absolutely terrifying for most decks in the format. You know, this deck also has access to discard. It has the right colors for Veil of Summer, though you don't see that as much. That would be a reasonable card in this matchup, being able to protect from Oko, for example. That is not the worst. I mean, making your spells uncounterable and having a shield against that Elking ability. Matt's going to keep on 7. There was some thought there. This may not be the strongest 7. Tough to read body language without seeing someone's entire body, but that did not seem like a super enthusiastic keep. We've got a Urborg into a Thoughtseize, and we will see just how good this hand is. A 1-lander with a Ponder. And that is a pretty easy choice. Jason may get a free win here, or Matt's deck might bail him out. What a savage. So Ponder's taken with this Thoughtseize, and he draws another Ponder off the top like a champion. Will things continue to go his way as he tries to sculpt a keepable hand? He's able to keep. And now a Dark Confidant is going to start just a different type of pressure. So even though Dark Confidant isn't like a real clock, I mean, it's a clock. Let's be fair. It will eventually maybe win the game. In Turbo Depths, it's much more likely to win the game than cost you the game. You do have a pretty low converted mana cost for the deck. That said, the real pressure is the card drawing, just the inevitability of just getting those extra cards in hand and then knowing that your opponent has, you know, Thoughtseizes or Duresses, like ways to trade 1-for-1. Abrupt Decay we saw. And I'm not actually sure that this is Turbo Depths. This Dark Confidants might be in the main. There is a slower build of Depths that just main deck runs Dark Confidants. Sometimes that build runs Mox Diamond as well. There's all sorts of ways you can build Depths. But Thoughtseize being responded to with the Brainstorm. Matt's going to be able to preserve the best card or two, depending if he wants to sacrifice the potential for randomness off the top of the deck. Pretty much always going to save the best card in your hand, but it's not always worth preserving everything. And Force of Will taken. It looks like Ponder, Oko. Is that a Veil of Summer? It looks like a Veil of Summer from here. Plague Engineer comes down and is going to wipe these Dark Confidants off the board. A big 2-for-1. But that wasn't really Turbo Depth's main strategy, so We'll see what they're able to do. Wasteland takes out one of Matt's mana sources. And Plague Engineer turns sideways. A crop rotation during the end step. We've got a Veil of Summer. Oh, just a misplay. Yeah, he just threw a Veil of Summer away there. I think Matt checking out here. Recognizing just how bad this situation is. And just making an error. Happens to the best of us. 2 damage coming in. Jason so far ahead. I don't know that I would have used the crop rotation without having the Dark Depths in hand. If you draw Thespian Stage or Dark Depths, you can just go get the other. So this is almost over. This Dark Depths is going to be able to come down, and Matt still very much land screwed. Yeah, there's a outside chance that Matt was looking to get a response out of Jason, like bait and Abrupt Decay. But it was probably just an error. You can play Veil of Summer, and then if your opponent responds to kill something, it'll still kill the thing, but you'll end up getting the card draw, like off of the black mana from Abrupt Decay. But I think that was probably just an error, as Matt had virtually just no chance of winning that game after Jason completely hobbled his mana base there. That was a pretty solid plan B there for Turbo Depths, going after the mana base and the hand. And despite finding that Ponder off the top of the deck, just wasn't enough. And Turbo Depths able to eventually assemble the 2020 to get there. That is all for this one, but don't worry, there is a lot more. You can check out our older videos, and we're always putting out new videos from ELD's Time Vault Games in Bellingham, Massachusetts. If you want to help the channel, of course, you can like, subscribe, share, tap that notification bell so you can know the next time our new videos come out. Thanks for watching.